The files confirm that Trump flew on the plane multiple times, contradicting his previous public denials. The DOJ withheld over 50 pages of FBI interviews and notes from a woman who accused Trump of sexual abuse decades ago when she was a minor. This isn't what exoneration looks like.
Tom, listen.
In this interview, what begins as a routine political defense quickly turns into something far more revealing. A Trump spiritual advisor attempts to reinforce the claim of total exoneration, but the journalist introduces specific details that directly challenge that narrative. What follows is not an emotional confrontation, but something much more significant. It is a calm, methodical unraveling of certainty, where each response gradually exposes the gap between confident claims and uncomfortable facts.
Joining me live in the studio, Pastor Mark Burns is President Trump's spiritual advisor and founder of the Now television network. It's very good to meet you in person. We've done this down the line a few times, but it's good to see you in London. Details of which we'll come to in just a moment. But I wonder what you make of the ramifications in the United States of the publication of these Epstein files. Here, we've seen arrests and we've seen a lot of parliamentary action. In the United States, not so much. Why?
That's a question that many are asking. Why we haven't seen more arrests or any arrests for that matter. For those who are in the Epstein case is obviously what's happened to those women. And I'm actually happy that the exposure has taken place. I'm happy to see that people like him has been exposed, and then people who helped support it and celebrated it is being exposed. And so I know that's a question that many people are asking on the left and on the right. Democrats and Republicans are asking the very same question.
Donald Trump has talked about himself being exonerated as a result of the release of these files, but he is undoubtedly a person who supported Jeffrey Epstein. Undoubtedly.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein did business with a lot of people. And let's be very clear. Remember, Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club. They were not on good terms. As a matter of fact, Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump. All of this is very much documented. So it's vexing and perplexing that people somehow keep trying to connect Donald Trump to
private plane.
They try to connect. Well, it's vexing. It's funny that people keep trying to connect Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein and those evil crimes. Jeffrey Epstein was a businessman, as evil as he was, and I'm grateful that these things have come out and exposing a lot of people who actually was on the island to do some evil things. Donald Trump is not one of those people.
The defense begins with confidence, but confidence alone does not resolve contradictions.
It's been very clear
by people
who are close to Jeffrey Epstein.
As you say, that it shows people who supported this man. Donald Trump supported this man. I mean, yes, they fell out latterly, but the files confirm that Trump flew on the plane multiple times, contradicting his previous public denials. The DOJ withheld over 50 pages of FBI interviews and notes from a woman who accused Trump of sexual abuse decades ago when she was a minor. This isn't what exoneration looks like.
Tom, listen, I'm on your show, and I'm supporting you because I'm on your show. But the point of it is, I don't know what you do privately. I don't know what you do when the lights get turned off. I don't know who you are when you leave here. I know who you are when I see you. I know you seem like a really nice individual. You work with, Margaret Thatcher.
Bit young for that. Theresa May.
I'm Theresa May. I'm so sorry. I got my history mixed up, but you understand what I'm saying. You're from that arena, but I have no earthly idea what you do behind your doors. I don't know what you look at. I don't know what you pull up on your computer. But does that make me guilty for coming to your show because I have no clue of what you've done in your own personal life?
Because Trump had no understanding.
And not just Trump. So many other people who have names have come up in these. I mean, remember the list was released, and you could see everybody from Michael Jackson, from from Supreme Court justices. They don't. So many names are on this list. Absolutely,
you're right.
But again, just because a name pops up doesn't necessarily mean that Donald Trump associated himself with these Allen and these horrendous crimes. Epstein was a financial individual who dealt with a lot of people. Bill Gates. Let's talk about Bill Gates. Why is his name popping up in those Epstein files? So the point of it is, I want to be very clear. Donald Trump has nothing to do with the evil and atrocities that Epstein has done. Donald Trump, like myself and you even, there's people that you do business with that you have no earthly idea what they do in their private time. That doesn't make you guilty by association. That just means that you were not a part of their private, intimate settings and lives.
Now the argument shifts from direct denial to broader justification.
Again, Donald Trump supported the FBI in getting Epstein. Donald Trump kept Epstein out of his club. Donald Trump was not on good terms with Epstein prior to all of this stuff. The real question we should be asking ourselves is, why was it that even after Epstein was found guilty of already found guilty of doing these sex trafficking, these minor, why did the world continue to do business with this individual? To me, it would have seemed that, and that's the real question, not just Epstein, the whole entire world, Tom.
You have been in London, I think, for a couple of days now.
Yes.
I wonder if your time in London is reminiscent of J.D. Vance's description of this city, and sometimes the President of the United States description of this city as lawless, as unsafe. Do you feel that here?
Well, first of all, let me say, one thing I love about President Trump is that he is a man that says things, that captures your attention and gets you focusing on it. He is the master art of the deal. That's why he wrote a book on it, sold millions of copies of it. People even now still read and talk about how amazing that book is, because he's a master at getting you to talk about something that
you don't think London's unsafe?
Well, no, of course, London is not.
But the most revealing moment is still ahead, and it changes everything.
Well, let me say this. Parts of London is unsafe. Sure. So let's be clear about that. But there's some citizens, there's citizens, and there are parts of America that are unsafe. There are parts of, the entire, there are parts of Rome that are unsafe, because evil is evil, and it's everywhere.
Do you think that Europe, as J.D. Vance said, is in a civilizational decline?
I think that Europe let Ukraine down. I think Europe has let Ukraine down. I think Europe should have easily, back in 2014, and not just Europe, but the West in general. I think that.
Did you include America in that?
Well, I just said the West. I think that those who were in power in 2014, when Russia, annexed Crimea, allowed that to happen. To me, that akin to when Nazi Germany invaded Poland and the West did nothing about it. And he said, hey, you know what? Since I invaded Poland, let me continue on. And so I believe that Europe has let him down. I'm grateful for President Trump because of President Trump, Europe now, even more so than ever, is bounding together to support Ukraine.
Well, although, of course...
Matter of fact, I think UK just issued out a wonderful package to Ukraine. President Zelensky just openly thanked them for doing that to help get their grid back on. So
what do you say to those like Trump or around Trump who have been parroting a lot of the Russian talking points about the reasons for that invasion of Ukraine, seem to acquiesce to the Russian viewpoint about what is happening with, they say, the encroachment of NATO? What would you say to them?
Well, I think America has been carrying the bill of NATO for far too long. I agree with President Trump that NATO, if NATO is going to be in existence, should be an organization that truly supports, and the other nations that are part of NATO should be.
Do you think part of the Russian invasion?
Well, let me finish.
Sorry.
NATO and those other countries that are supported by NATO should be offering their equal share. Yes. America has been carrying that bill for way too long, and now NATO President Trump is forcing NATO and the countries that are supported by NATO to carry their end of the share.
That is the response to Ukraine. It's obviously, as you know, I think you were in Ukraine relatively recently.
Yes.
But on this civilizational decline point.
And then, unexpectedly, the conversation takes a deeply revealing turn.
That's not true of Europe, is it?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not in Europe. Again, I'm not here to rebuttal against what President Trump. I don't agree with everything everybody says. I can only speak from what I see. As again, remember, a large portion of.
But you could relate this back to when you're on the phone.
Movement, the Make America Great Again movement, was against Ukraine. I was against Ukraine. I was very verbally against supporting Ukraine because of the Russian propaganda that was being fed into conservative movement. Many people believe that Vladimir Putin was an amazing Christian because he was against certain things that conservatives in America are against. But until you go to Ukraine and you see the atrocities, you see the rapes, you see the violent situations that are taking place, you see the war crimes that the Russians and Vladimir Putin has allowed to happen to Ukraine, you can begin to question, how can this man be Christian or even be true conservative? So it was until, Tom, I got there, I discovered what others were saying was a lie. So I can't speak for President Trump. No, I'm not here to speak for J.D. Vance. I'm here to speak for Mark Burns.
This is the moment that quietly changes the entire context of the interview. Because what started as a confident defense of political certainty slowly transformed into an admission of something far more complex. The advisor did not simply defend Trump. He revealed how narratives themselves are formed, reinforced, and eventually questioned. He acknowledged that his own previous beliefs had been shaped by information that later proved to be incomplete or misleading. This matters because it demonstrates something deeper than partisan disagreement. It shows how proximity to information, exposure to reality, and direct observation can fundamentally reshape understanding. When beliefs are based on distance, they often rely on trust. But when those beliefs are tested against direct experience, the results can be very different. Throughout this interview, the journalist never needed to raise his voice. He simply introduced facts, one layer at a time. And each time, the certainty of the defense became more difficult to maintain, not through confrontation, but through quiet persistence. This is how contradictions reveal themselves not through force, but through careful examination. And ultimately, the most revealing moments are not the ones filled with emotion, they are the ones where confidence gives way to reflection. What do you think about this exchange? Did the defense answer the questions, or did it avoid them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future analysis.